The G20 is one of the most important international economic cooperation and it has a crucial role to play in the sustainable and inclusive growth. Hello everyone. Greetings of the day. Myself Ritika Bishop of class 12th
and I Vishali Bishop of class 10
and we welcome you to this wonderful session on G20. Okay Vishali, let us start with the basics. Can you explain what the G20 is and why it was created?
Sure. The G20 is a forum for international cooperation on economic and financial issues. It comprises world's major economies including both developed and developing countries. The G20 was established in 1999 with the aim of promoting policy coordination and cooperation among its members and to address the global economic challenges.
Very well said Vishali, that the G20 or the group of 20 aims at coordinating with the member countries. Okay Vishali, our audience wants to know that G20 was formed in 1990, but why it is so popular nowadays?
This is for the first time India is hosting the summit and our Prime Minister holds a chair for it.
Okay, moving on to the next question, how has the G20 evolved since its establishment?
Over the years, the G20 has become a more important forum for global economic governance. Initially, it was primarily a forum for finance ministers and other stakeholders. But over the years, the G20 has expanded its agenda to address a wider range of economic issues such as development, trade and climate change.
Well said, Vishali. Now my next query towards you is, what are the most significant achievements of the G20?
While talking about the achievements, one of the most notable achievements of the G20 has been its response to the financial crisis of 2008-2009. The G20 played a key role in coordinating policy coordination and cooperation among its members. The G20 has also made progress on issues such as international tax reform and financial regulation.
Very true, Vishali, that G20 aims at coordinating with the global economic policy and preventing the long-lasting recession. These are the notable achievements of the G20. Now moving forward to the next question, how effective have the G20 been in promoting economic development and financial stability?
The G20 has been effective in promoting policy coordination and cooperation among its members, which has helped to stabilize the economy and prevent crises. The G20 has also made progress on issues such as income equality and slow growth.
Yes. Indeed, a lot of work is need to be done in this, but I agree with you. My next query towards you is, some of the critics argue that G20 lacks political legitimacy and transparency. What is your response to this?
My response to this is that, while it's true that G20 is not a formal intergovernmental organization, but it still plays an important role in global economic governance. The G20 operates on a consensus-based approaches and its members are accountable to their own domestic democratic approaches. That being said, there is always a room for improvement in terms of transparency and inclusiveness, and the G20 should strive to engage with civil society and other stakeholders.
Now, let's land with the next question. How has the COVID-19 pandemic affected the role and priorities of the G20?
The G20 has highlighted the need for global cooperation and economic and financial issues. The G20 has played an important role in responding to the crisis. The G20 has taken steps to support the global health system, safeguard the economy and promote recovery. Moving on, the G20's priorities will likely continue to focus on addressing the pandemic and its economic fallout.
Very true, Vishali, that the G20 is playing a major role in the post-COVID recovery. As challenges are faced by everyone, what are the challenges facing the G20 today?
While talking about the challenges, one of the biggest challenges facing the G20 is the need to address structural economic issues such as low productivity and rising inequality. The G20 also needs to make progress on issues such as international trade and climate change. In addition, there is always a risk of new crises emerging, and the G20 will need to be ready to respond to these challenges.
Yes, Vishali, as you mentioned that the low productivity and inequality are the major challenges faced by the G20. But I would also like to add that the disruption of food supply and terrorism are also one of the more major challenges faced by the G20. Now, my next query towards you is, the G20 has addressed a commitment towards climate change. How successful it has been into this regard?
The G20 had made some progress in addressing the climate change, but there is still more work to be done. The G20 has committed to eliminate inefficient fossil fuels, promoting the clean energy, and supporting the Paris Agreement on climate change.
That's a good point about the elimination of the fossil fuel subsidies will help to prevent the climate change. So Vaishali, what are your final thoughts on the G20?
My final thoughts are the G20 is an important forum for global cooperation, and it's good to know that world leaders are working together to address the challenges facing our planet.
Yes, indeed, the G20 is a global cooperation that deals with the feeling of oneness, and we are in the same boat together attitude which must be drawn together by the developed and developing nations. And yeah, it's important for the students to learn about the international organizations like WHO, WTO, IMFC, UN, and to be engaged in the discussions how we can make the world a better place. That being said, thank you everyone for being wonderful viewers. We are signing off for now and we will be back with more informative videos. Till then, take care.
Thank you.